course, we now get to the tenor of the evening, Frank
Hahn made me think to look at my phone, and unfortunately they're all Viagra ads. So
Frank,
yes.
you have had this amazing career, and you have sung a range of roles that, particularly, I remember, I mean, started in Mozart, I believe, and you've always been incredibly faithful to Mozart, which in the singer's world is the best thing you can say about anyone. But why is that?
Do you think it served me well? Is there any, I mean, do you think it helped all those Mozart years with the Puccini? Do you think it? Because Mozart's still very near and dear to my heart, although I don't sing any of that rep anymore. I still go on stage thinking many of the same techniques and approaches to singing as when I was a Mozart specialist. So I was just hoping that you appreciated that. Yeah. So I'm the shortest and the oldest in the cast, as you may well have seen. And I haven't been able to convince any makeup artist to let me go on like this. I'm working on it, but yes.
So, but how, when you're thinking Mozart, how do you then transfer that into Puccini? What are the demands that Puccini makes?
Well, Mozart...
The last time, of course, that you recall, he was here singing Pinkerton in Madame Butterfly, that horrible cat, but it's just such a different role, but of course it's still Puccini. So I
remember with the Pinkerton, when we had this night, I immediately said, all of my children are accounted for. You know, so, so far. Anyway, no, I mean, I think the fundamentals, that's why it's not really off base for any teacher or anyone trying to impart knowledge to future generation of singers, that they begin with Mozart. Obviously, some people come out of conservatory and they have full guns blazing, and Mozart's not necessarily for everyone. But when a young singer comes to me and says, what do you advise me to do? It's a no-brainer. I say start with, if it's a tenor, I say take out Don Ottavio, go do Ferrando, go do Tamino as soon as possible. Because these are the very building blocks, and I think the reason why I'm still here after 32 years of singing. So, yeah, and I'm still hopefully I can stick around a little longer. You know, with the economy such as it is, I really can't retire right now. So.
Have you ever thought about doing stand-up comedy?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I have.
Talking of which,
yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Talking of which, do you ever play comic roles? I mean,
well, that's one of the difficulties for me in making the transition to Puccini and Verdi, is that I started out in not necessarily Rossini and Mozart opera buffo, but the roles that I did, particularly Barber of Seville, Italiano and Algeri, which we'll be doing shortly, lent themselves to singing a full lyric, a lyric sound, a leggero sound, but I needed to be funny from time to time, particularly in Barber of Seville, where you're actually playing 3 different characters. And that's the most fun I've ever had as a singer. But the difficulty for me was making the transition to the line that is required for Puccini and playing, serious characters. Every now and then, particularly in this opera, we get the opportunity in the beginning of the show and at the end of the show, to shimmy a little bit and fool around. It's a lot of fun. But I don't really fancy myself a very serious person in general, and it's really hard for me sometimes to be serious. As everyone knows, during rehearsals, I try to have a good time, and I try to keep things light. But many of the characters I sing now, particularly the Duke, I think many of you have seen that. I did that here about 4 years ago. That's a serious guy, So I'm learning. I try to have fun when I'm singing, and I hope it shows through. I think anything that you sing, a coach once told me, try not to forget to keep a smile on the voice. And that's a very important thing to tell young singers, is to, try not to be overly serious vocally. You need to be serious as your character, but try to keep the youth about your instrument if at all possible. So.